Welcome back to the 24 hours of Kyoto. A significant apology from us for this nearly 4-hour downtime. We do thank Lutz Enger from SimRace TV for getting back to us and resetting everything, and just to give a big thanks to him for this streaming service. It's a good thing. Don't know what caused the issue, but we are back. You haven't really missed much. It's been quiet. You did miss the safety car 69. The Mafia racing car got beached in the gravel at turn 9 and 10. We scrambled the safety car, cleared it, and we have just gone back green. We got us back into racing, and we are back now for it. Jonathan Palmer and basically all of us in race control are right here in the commentary box. Jonathan Palmer, we got also Jonathan Provost, Stuart Baker, Sijita Sakis, and Letteriello. We may not really give you much commentary until Thilo and or Steve Martin get back, but we will definitely give you pictures and whatever race control matters we might discuss. Joe, we'll talk to you. Joe, you just finished the last couple stints. How were they?
They were great. Traffic's alright. There's a couple battles going on here and there. The track's not too bad. I'd never raced here before in GT car. I don't know what a lot of people were complaining about, but the track's not that bad. As I haven't had a problem with the curbs. Overall though, for the 6 GT1 cars we have, we're doing a pretty good job of navigating through all of the GT2s, which I am in.
So we join you with a little under 6 hours, or 5 hours and 50 minutes remaining. Inex Racing with the lead. We'll just kind of leave you with pictures. No audio just yet. I'm gonna upload that part that we lost the stream in, so it starts uploading and we'll get it to you back. Everything back to you soon. Inex Racing leads the GT1 class. Back in the GT2 world. Come across the start-finish line now. Team Fire is number 54, timed out twice, and is in the class lead by an entire.
Well, one thing you can say is the 01 of Inex, the 09 of Genuine Racing, the 29 of Genuine Racing, and the 06 of Infinity Esports are all in the lead lap. And then all the other GT1s are a lap or two down. GT2s, the 54 Virus car and the 52 LLM car are both one lap ahead of the rest of the GT2 cars, and then you get a bunch 2, 3, 4 laps down. But you have Savage, 56 of Savage, 66 of Core on the same lap. Fast and Crazy is 2 laps behind them. Asex is 2 laps behind, so on and so on. So first and second on same lap fighting for position, and third and fourth are on the same lap fighting for position. And if I may say, the 66 is closing in on Savage Sim Sports. one of the things I was doing in my stint, trying to chase down the only position we can get left, which is the 56 of Savage.
And for those who may be just rejoining us, we did have a server failure at the 10.5 hour mark. Took about an hour and a half before we restarted. Restarted with 12 hours to go, so we're basically just having a 12-hour race to end it. So you're not really going to see. It really hasn't been. It really kind of interfere with everything. But anyone who had engine damage, I'm sure breathed a huge sigh of relief once we displayed the red, since they get a fresh car. Leading the GT2 championship as we were Last Lap Motorsports. Currently, as of this moment, would be a 2-point gap. Over team veteran number 54. And in GT1, pending disaster, Conquest Racing in the in their 08 FZR on track to clinch the GT1 title. All they have to do is get past the 75% distance. We'll just let you watch onboard Conquest for a lap or two. Joe, getting a little tired on these drives?
Well, I'm not tired. I've been up 27 and a half hours. I'm fine. I mean, I don't know about tired, but my butt and back were pretty sore. I mean, if you ain't got a comfortable chair. Did notice towards the end of my stint, though, I was getting a little fuzzy-eyed, cross-eyed, tunnel vision. And I think during the night stints more, when you're within the last 10 minutes of your stint, you start losing focus compared to the start of your stint. But I think everyone in this race has done the 24-hour once or twice, so I think they're all used to it.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to take a look at Yessi Telkalov work his way through turn 13. I think we've got a pretty good chance at this being the last real major 24-hour race, unless something big changes in LFS. Get a little more participation. Taking a look at your car, being driven right now by Barbosa. In the LFS positions list, he's listed as 12th overall, 6th in class. In reality, they're 4th overall. At the red flag, everyone's restarted on the same lap, but the tracker at tracker.newdimensionrace.com is showing you the accurate position.
Fourth overall, not bad. Especially compared to our other team car, 77, which had a pretty strong lineup. It's not too bad for, I wouldn't call anyone else in 66 and myself slow, but we're not the alien type, so being P4 right now ain't too bad. Pretty much what I'm saying, no one in this car is finished, so where'd Dom go?
He's probably just...
You need a commentator. what you have on stream, but we do have a nice little pack of GT2s.
Yep, we got 52 and 66. 73 off at turn.
Right now, the closest battle would be 56 and 66, but second place in between them. Could get a little exciting here. 52 probably just wants to get by and get up to the virus car, but 56 doesn't want to lose any ground to the 66.
So yes, top 2 and GT2 on the same lap. At 52, orange and black LLM car splitting this battle for third in class.
And with the past luck of virus and LLM, who knows, you might be looking at the battle for the lead right here.
That's Ian Laparod at the wheel of the LLM, or excuse me, Savage Sims. Yeah, it's been a long thing. Of the Savage Sim Sports GT2 machine. Here we go. Joe, if you keep talking, I'll try to punch cameras as quick as I can. Me and Mr. Provost will be looking at it.
Alrighty.
Feel free to talk about anything you see. Otherwise,
Well, let's just keep the cameras on 56 and 66 here. Closest battle on track. Obviously, like we all knew, the 52 wanted to get by the 56. He finally did, which let the 66 catch up to the 56, and it's an all-out battle. Over now we have the GT1s coming up behind them, which can either hurt or help either driver, depending on where the GT1 decides to pass them. Looks like Barbosa is going to be the sore man out of that fight. Lost a decent amount of ground to 56. I don't know his last name.
Yeah, no,
Now, possibly the worst possible scenario for Barbosa. First, losing a lot of time to 56 from the GT1. Now he has to battle with a lap car. The car which brought out the safety car. The 69 Mafia Racing of Letteriello. And one lap, Barbosa goes from being on the bumper of the 56 Savage Sim Sports car to being about a second and a half back. So you can see how much of an effect of the fastest have an effect on you.
watching in car with Barbosa.
He will be making his way back up. He's about 4/10 quicker than 56 so far. 2/10 quicker there going into sector 2. So he'll make his way back up. Hopefully we don't have GT1 traffic splitting up the battle again. So this is the only action we have on track at the moment. Into 52 Major catches up with Mickey Dakovich, Virus.
A stop-go penalty has been issued to NX Racing, the race leaders, for causing an avoidable incident with car 69, which is the one that brought out the most recent safety car. A way back late dive on number 69, causing 69 to end up beached in the gravel. I'll have 3 laps to serve it. So now we'll have to come and stop for 10 seconds. And that'll have implications after that safety car, with how close Krasimir Ivanov is behind.
Not sure why they would do that. Why you would throw away a pretty much secured win. I mean, there's still plenty of time left, but wasn't really needed. I did notice when I was driving that the non-NX drivers, so far only being Jesse Tekela and Samsa something, your bunts. I did notice they were a bit more aggressive than the actual NX members of Isaac Price and Robin Friskhouse. Maybe a reason why they're not in NX, but I wouldn't see the purpose of going out being a guest driver for a team and being real aggressive. Everyone on the team is capable of running fast laps.
Tekla in on the second lap to serve the penalty. Still 5 hours and 20 minutes to gain the time back. And with their pace, they have a good shot at it.
I have a feeling we might see Isaac Price in for the next stint. A little bit of cleanup work. .66 of Barbosa is slowly creeping his way up onto the bumper of the 56 of Savage Sim Sports. I will keep continuing to say Savage Sim Sports because I don't know his last name.
For car 50.
Yeah.
That's Ian Laprovot.
Laprovot. Alright, I'll try to remember that.
Savage and Core within 2 or 3 minutes of each other's pit stop cycle.
Oh, thank Jesus, look who joined. Some backup.
He'll be with us in a minute. watching out through the windscreen of Barbosa again.
Definitely has the slipstream. See if he cuts him up, stays behind him. There's not really too many places on this track where you can actually make a move and gain ground on them right after. Really, the only two options is turn 1 and 2, and then the double left before the final chicane. Because if you hit either one of those turns perfect and the other one doesn't, you're going to gain about a 10 for 2 on them, and they won't have your slipstream. And that's pretty much what keeps you in contact with other cars. You can be a whole second off pace from another car, and you can stay with them the whole lap, just because of the slipstream. Which makes it very difficult for people like Major trying to get through lap traffic to get up to the race leader. Barbosa dives down on the inside, this time turn 1. Lap revolt, stays behind. Now obviously, Barbosa is quicker than lap revolt because he caught up from being about 2 to 3 seconds behind. He's just going to have to hold him off to some GT1 traffic and break them up, or if he can get lucky with lap revolt messing up. Hi Theo.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Oh look, there's Dom. Oh, I'm doing good. We had a, I'm not sure, I was racing and all that, I'm not sure if you were here, but we had a red flag for about 30-40 minutes.
Oh dear.
Then probably about 40 minutes ago, we had our first safety car.
Okay.
That's about it. Oh, and this, oh yeah, you know about that, the string's been down here. That's about it. Red flag and a safety car, and that's all that's happened. We got about 4 GT1s on the lead lap. First and second place in GT2 are on the same lap, and then third and fourth are on the same lap, and currently the closest battle on track. And everyone else is about a lap or 2 down. Overall race leader, the 01 of NX, was penalized not too long ago for bringing out that safety car by punting the 69 of Mafia Racing into the gravel trap. They received a stop-go penalty and are trying to recover from that. And not too long ago, Barbosa of Cool in the 66 car just passed Jan Lapabalt in the number 56 Savage Sim Sports car for third position in GP2. That about sums it up.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Hi Dom.
Hello. Sounds like the two Germans are taking over this one again. Yay.
But we had to bring in the Americans to hold it together. But
Provot lets the rally through. That's not for position, the rally is 2 laps down of the Savage car.
make that 5. I think I said 4. We have 5 GT1s in the lead lap.
I'm not 5 GT1s on the lead lap? I'm not sure that's right.
Yep.
No.
Tracker currently shows me just 2 GT1s on lead lap, but that might update a bit later.
True.
No, it is 2.
2. Yeah.
It's 2?
True.
The top 2 is on a lead lap. Jenna and INX.
I forgot a red flag thingy.
So here we see the Jenna car.
All its blueness.
Oh, Barbosa! With a brief look into the gravel trap. Concentration error there.
There's only 5 hours to go.
By the way, Dom, have you heard what happened in Bathurst just before you started your stint?
Yes, what do you mean?
Like that Mauro Engel took over the Mercedes into the lead while you were preparing for your stint. So 2 Engels.
I couldn't care less about him, to be honest. And I couldn't care less about the Mercs. I don't like them. The right person won a Bathurst, well, the right person, I mean the right team won a Bathurst, so no complaints there. Just about got to see the end after what I could call not very successful driving from my end, but at least in the first stint where I had damaged car before the red flag, that wasn't very productive from me. But yeah, since the restart it's been going pretty well for us, I can actually say. Very much on the up.
Well, not anymore since you said that. Expect a few blowouts and timeouts now.
We never had a puncture.
Commentator's curse.
Well, Ivanov's tires are looking a little thin there. We'll see how it goes in the next few minutes here. We've never had a puncture, Password said.
No, we haven't had a puncture, not throughout practice and not throughout this. No reason to think why you suddenly should have one. Not really that easy to get one in GT1 anyways. Not like GT2 land, where it seems like it has to be mandatory that every driver punctures their left front tyre at least 3 times, or right front, or whichever.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. An option.
So what's it like passing GT2 lane?
Mostly okay. A few, can cause a few issues when you're approaching on the oval or something and they change lines, or they want to send you the other side suddenly, and but well, apart from that, it's been okay. Quite a good track for lapping. Not like the last time I drove, which was SO4. It was horrible.
You're talking about it's probably a great track to lap on.
Yeah, because one of the GT1s was going slower than the GT2s. Great track to lap on. Indeed.
Hey, speaking of puncture, ASICS has a puncture.
Yay! As I said, GT2 field minimum puncture requirement is 3 on the front.
What kind of tire wear is that? His middle. Like,
Got lower wishbone damage.
makes sense.
Yeah, I was going into reverse there for a second, or I got worried again. Not the first time we had that.
Car reversing on pits? Sounds familiar.
Of course, in a real race, you'd get disqualified for that. Because you're not ever able, or you're able to do so, but you're not ever allowed to go counter course in the pit lane under your own power. Yeah, something I haven't been keeping up with at all is the GT2 point situation, which is still quite close from the looks of it.
Well, according to Deco, number 52 of Last Lap Motorsports must finish second in class to clinch the title. If Virus, the number 54 car, wins and LLM finishes third or worse, Virus clinches the title.
Well, hey. We'll see. We're still 5 and a bit out of the way from it. So.
I like to see it end in a tie. Then they have to do a hot lap shootout. With high wind.
And 0-0 wings and FXR. On
Or
a rallycross
FE3.
layout.
Oh, or that. I guess it would be nice to see. Just swallow my tongue here and say it would be nice to see Last Lap Motorsports clinch the title. I'd rather see them clinch the title than a GT2 car that should actually be a GT1 car with the drivers that are in it.
I'm not sure the Virus car wouldn't be really a GT1 car drivers wise, or if it wouldn't really be one as well, because I think it pretty much is. Or that those days where all the non-experienced drivers or lower-ish drivers end up in GT2 and the rest does GT1, those are long gone. GT1 title situation looks a bit more obvious than GT2, to be honest. That was to be expected.
I guess Dashkevich plays a big role in that one. And his team.
Yeah, could say that. I mean, there are 25 points available to us, and we're 23 points back of Conquest, and basically unless they somehow decide to actually not finish the race for whatever reason, yeah, they get the title, but we're just gonna try and get the best possible result out of this race. We're in a good position now. We could say that, I guess. And yeah, hopefully the second car can move forwards, maybe. It'd be quite nice to see. Been a very, very stretched out race, really. Oh, and Tanscan for January race number 9 joins, so that'll be a pit stop in the near future for lead car.
But first of all, we've got Fast and Crazy for the pit stop. Zlatev to give the car to Botev. Also Monty Gitis is in the pits. And
I've had problems with his name since the very first race.
yes, he loves when we try to pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't.
Whose name?
Number
62
62.
LLM.
I got this.
That's fantastic. Naka, you know, all the names are unpronounceable except for Ray Kingsbury earlier, but okay. That's
Well, oh wait,
exception
which
to the
one?
rule.
There's two. They're about to do a driver spot. Which 62?
The
one leaving.
The leaving driver, yes, indeed.
I'll try to figure this out.
Zabaliauskas is easy to pronounce.
That's I don't know.
The rally coming down the pit lane for Mafia Racing as well. And Garbaleski joining for the number 8 Conquest car.
And camera focuses on the empty pit stall. There we go, there's Mafia. Tuscan takes the number 9 out of the pit lane now.
I also streamed my stint, my final stint. Yeah, you guys missed that.
Oh, Telkala not joining, going to pit lane. Yavansa joining to take over from him, that way around.
For a moment I thought there was a car stationary and start finish, but that's just
In the
some...
pit lane.
No, that's just some spot on my monitor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it exactly looks like the circles in TV Director.
I was gonna say, I always thought you were gonna say that it looked like one of the cars. That would be very strange.
Spotty cars.
Spotty cars related to Spotify,
Of course, you can only rent it.
but you can drive all of them.
Telkala leaving the pit lane. Another 2 cars coming in.
Make that 3.
Dashkevitz and Katila.
Along with second place GT2 Majora.
Oh, I've just noticed that since the restart, Conquest has no longer got unbranded tires. How significant.
Also Remco Major, yeah. Okay, let's brand all the tires. Katila for World Class Lions out of pit lane.
Garbaleski also out of pit lane. Oh, he's gonna have a nice drag race with LM. He's got the faster first kilometer.
Side by side out of pit lane. But the GT1 car has some more ponies on its back, actually, not on its front.
Rear engine cars are a great thing.
The GT2 number 66 car, or Barbosa, now has a healthy lead over the number 56 Saturn Sim Sports, now being driven by Kevin Liu.
I think you'll find this lie.
It's Loy.
Liu. America.
It's Loy Cat also, not Lou Cat.
Liu. Don't fight me on this, I know.
Looks like for now the only car yet to pit is Infinity in GT1.
Just as we speak, a landsman of this guy we are having on stream, of Kevin Loy, won the gold medal in cross-country skiathlon, making the first gold medal for Switzerland in these Winter Olympics.
I'll keep my opinion about the Winter Olympics not being important to anybody.
Hey, I like the Winter Olympics. Nothing better than watching a good match of curling.
Yes.
Logo was in pit lane, made a pit stop, no driver change. He's still in the car for number 6 Infinity sports car. Maybe with something more relevant, the Burnout crew starts their Village League.
Did you say that yesterday?
Yes, I said that yesterday. Well, it was in the middle of the night. Maybe there are some more people listening. On February 17th and February 24th, as well as on March 3rd, there are going to be 3 race events with the Fox at Aston Club, with the RB4 at Blackwood Rallycross, and with the FXR at Kyoto National. The race evenings start at 19:15 UTC with a 15-minute qualification, followed by a 1-hour race. To find more infos about these events, go to the burnoutcrew.net forums. They are in German, but I guess you'll find someone if you don't speak German, who will help you through all of this. This series shall be a bridge to the new City Liga season, City Liga 18, with more infos to come over the next few weeks.
Is this the bit of the stream where there's shameless plugging going on?
Yes!
Well then I'm gonna say GT Masters next weekend, sign up! Well, the genuine racing GT Masters, therefore it is significant.
Yeah.
Last round 1 was awesome, so join now.
That's true. With a stream I couldn't watch.
I upload some good videos at Pool of YOLO Swag on YouTube. Check me out.
There's a way to watch the streams, even in Germany. Just have to know
Yeah.
how.
The know-how. And if you can't see it live, at least there is a fabulous quality stream available on YouTube
demand.
afterwards.
Yeah,
On
right
demand.
afterwards. That's the advantage with YouTube. Hopefully, well, you can only hope that the second round of Blackwood on a coming weekend it is. So, got 7 days to practice if you count in today. It's on a coming weekend. First race was very good. We had 2 almost full grids, and it went pretty clean. So we're very satisfied with it. We hope it continues like that. Would be very nice to finish off our series in LFS like this, rather than the last GT Master season, which was a bit I better not mention. But yeah, fantastic, everything's great. Well, everything we said about LFS yesterday didn't actually apply ever. Because all the events are still happening. Just.
Well, it's the difference between LFS is dead and LFS is dying.
When
As you
LFS
pointed
is
out
dead, it's
yesterday.
over.
Yes.
You know?
Well, what is it now?
Now it's dying.
How does it go from dead to dying?
Because everyone said it was dead, and now it's actually dying.
Well, if this is another example of dead, I don't know what is.
I don't know.
I guess Grand Prix 2.
Grand Prix Legends?
Well, even Grand Prix Legends has some small community still racing. I guess to find a community which isn't continuing.
I mean, I'm sure there are people who still play like NASCAR 1999 on the PlayStation 1 more than LFS.
Well, okay, to be fair, we have to watch out for simulations with an online function. PlayStation 1 didn't have one. Although it was concepted to get added to it.
But it didn't do it.
You didn't need online in the PlayStation when it's called Bring Your Friends Over.
Or it's called buying a PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Well, in
Yes.
in
62
2000,
LLM bits. Again.
Again, yeah, I just was gonna say, when they're in the pits like not
Yeah,
that long
they
ago.
were a few minutes ago changing drivers. Maybe they forgot something. Fueling up. Well.
I don't think they would have lasted that long if they hadn't fueled up.
True. And
There was-
again!
And again.
Yes. Sabeliauskas
Oh yeah, again.
pits.
That's true.
And Monty Jits is joining again.
maybe it's something on his side, maybe steering wheel or pedals,
Probably. But
game lagging.
If there's some problem with it, he at least makes a good and decent job to not spin or something. And so Silvis is back in the car.
That's cheating.
Because I said Silvis.
Yes.
Alright, so do you guys know the correct name, or the correct way to say his last name?
No, absolutely not.
Monte Juitis, I would say.
That's
but,
that's what I would say. Moti Joitis. Moti Joitis. Moti Joitis. That sounds cute.
cute.
Moti Joitis.
Maybe there's something available for you.
What's his first name?
Carolus, I think.
Corollas.
Corellis Moti Joitis. That's like a song.
We'll get a Grammy Award for this. Just because of the sound of the name.
Could be like a reggae song. He's got the reggae colors on his car.
Don't you think that's a bit more meant to be like a Lithuanian flag, though?
Nah. That's Rasta. The only flag colors I know is red, white, and blue.
You don't know yellow?
There are quite a number of flags using red, white and blue.
And I can't say stars, because there's red, white, and blue flags with stars on them. but I can say the red, white, and blue flag with stars that depicts freedom.
In people's imaginations. Controversy unlocked.
Everyone's coming back online. Here's Stephen Martin. Hopefully he comes down here.
Well, it's 12:23. It's 11:23 UTC now, so.
Yeah, he said something like he would be back. Maybe, might be back. Not that he will be, but might be eventually.
I never went. Well, I went from here, but I still haven't gone anywhere to rest.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I
I've
have a
never done that
flashback.
before.
I'm going for an all-time record. I've been up 28 hours. I'm going to the end of the race.
Ooh.
And my tailbone really hurts.
I'm actually fine. I'm very surprised by that because usually I would suffer from the same problems.
Shoulder blades and tailbone, pretty much it. And then my foot on the brake pedal sometimes goes numb. Should probably seek some medical attention, but
Maybe.
Maybe.
Don't copy me.
Sorry.
Not nice.
What do we say at noon? At nearly noon, UTC? You can't say good morning, you can't say good evening.
Hello.
good afternoon.
Oh,
Hello,
if you wanna
yeah.
say it in Esperanto, you can say saluton.
Let's do the rest of the stream in Esperanto.
Yes, let me get my dictionary. Actually, I haven't got one, so yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
You can say the redneck way, yellow, or you could do the city way, yo. That's about it for America.
And we've got just about. I think you could say we've got one of those classic 1,000 kilometer Le Mans series race lengths left to go. No, wait, actually that's already not true because it's going to be 8 hours. So I'm again wrong. Damn, 1 hour too late.
Tracker tells me 4 hours and 36 to go.
Yeah, but the Le Mans series would be like 5.5 or something.
Yeah.
Well, under the old format with the 1,000 Ks.
Garcia gives the car to Garcia and the 71.
Garcia to Gracia.
Gracia, sorry. Yeah.
Which way around? Okay, Garcia takes over from Gracia, okay. That's not confusing at all.
Not at all.
Especially because their first names start with D as well. And they're driving for the same team. That's bound to not cause any problems whatsoever.
Not at all.
Yeah, we've passed midday in Central Europe at least, which means that,
We're half an hour short of noon in UTC.
well, it means that too, but it means that teams in Central and Eastern Europe, you can't really say Eastern Europe, but the people in GMT1 and GMT2 time zones are probably starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Over here it's just grey and grey on the sky, so
Oh, the sun's
No light.
shining here. Sun's
It's dark
shining.
here.
Yeah, but you're on a different planet or something.
Don't tell that to America, or they'll actually think they are a different planet.
who was the American politician who said "fuck Europe"? There was someone. Yeah, well, yeah. we know that actually everyone is thinking like that, but someone was caught on tape with that.
Didn't Obama send back Winston Churchill's little head statue thing?
I don't know, we don't care about Winston Churchill
Oh,
too much.
sorry.
The only thing we care about Winston Churchill is his, what he said about sports. No sports. That he's doing nothing.
You know, the only thing is, you would have had to convince him of motorsport, and then he would have been having the right mindset.
Well, if you guys have noticed, 01, the NX car is catching the 29 of Genuine Racing.
Aren't they on
no.
different pits?
No, they're on different
No,
laps.
okay, different
At
pits.
different laps even.
No, they're on the same. Are they?
According to the tracker, they are.
According
Ah.
to tracker, they are.
True. Sorry.
Inex car is second general car than P4, number 29. And I start getting back into the habit of calling every team XYZ number 2. And I absolutely don't like that.
Calling them what?
Well, you know, if you have car numbers to differentiate team entries by adding a number to the end of a name like XYZ Racing 2 or we have no imagination to choose a name Motorsports number 1 or something like that. Absolutely don't like that, and I tried to get the habit off, and I can't get it off. Too much LFS in the last 3 years where that was the case.
I love it when teams choose different names for their cars.
What, like Barry?
I think of the GLP 24 hours where absolute beginners.
Okay. Now I get it. Now I get what you mean.
Absolute beginners fielded 3 cars. And I have to look up what they were called.
Wait, so you would name your car Barry?
No, I wouldn't. Maybe this year's Red Bull will be called Barry or something, or Brian. At least if it doesn't perform very quickly.
Gretchen. They should name it Gretchen.
Absolute beginners fielded 3 cars in the DOP 24-hour race, all in the same class. and they were called Absolute Beginners, Blue Hat Autos, Beer and Marlboro, and Cola Mode.
Other beverages and tobacco products are available.
If you drove by them, they could throw you over some of those things.
What's going on in Real Motorsport, other than Bathurst? Pretty much nothing this weekend if I wasn't overlooking many things.
Maybe some Prince of Behind Cup.
Or the Zimbabwean Formula Renault 2000 Championship or something. But nothing important.
European Winter Series something, maybe.
What do you mean the Northern European Formula Renault 2.0 Winter Series?
Oh, maybe.
That's fabulous.
Who knows?
I don't have any kind of schedule for this year yet, so I've got pretty much.
There was Rally Sweden, which is over.
That's nothing.
And again,
VW1, Jock.
yes, and again it was someone from Scandinavia who won.
Jock.
Okay, Latvala is Finnish, right?
Yes. Maybe
Okay,
Vietnamese,
technically
I don't know.
Finland doesn't belong to Scandinavia, we know, but
It does in the Scandinavia and the World comics. But so does Denmark in those. Which I never thought was very Scandinavian, but actually is if you think about it.
yeah, it is. And so it's still that Sebastian Loeb is the only non-Scandinavian to win Rally Sweden. What else do we have? Oh! 28 prototypes and 28 GT cars in Le Mans were announced.
Oh. That's quite interesting. That's a lot of GTs. And how have they been announced now? I thought the entries were being released on... Well, I guess they haven't released who's in
It was a pre-announcement that
It's
the
just
field
the
should split
numbers, yes.
equally.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was like a headline of they spread it equally, blah. And I thought, so that means there are only 20 LMP2s this year. But it looks like it's actually better than that. Because P2 last year was a bit of a joke. Like, as in, not that it was bad, but that there were so many of them. Gonna be interesting. If you're interested in World Endurance Championship Le Mans entries, there's gonna be the press conference gonna be on the 13th, which I believe is Thursday.
13th?
13th, yes.
That must be Wednesday, I think. No, it's
On
Thursday.
my calendar, it's Thursday.
Thursday, you're right.
At God knows what o'clock in the day.
That's the day after I got my exam results from yesterday.
Well, basically, you've got something to cheer up. I predict Audi's gonna enter LMP1. Although I might be wrong, you never know.
ASICS and Trusted Motorsports very close together. But although they are behind each other, they are 3 laps apart of each other. 7th and 8th place in GT2. And here is the hardest follower of the 62 LLM. Mafia Racing currently sticking behind Kevin Loy, having some good pace over the last few laps.
Hours, 20 minutes to go. We've also almost passed the magical 20-hour mark.
Yeah. You start to see the end of the race, actually.
Is there a bonus point or points for highest climber?
There's
Yes.
2, and you get 6 in the whole race if you're the highest climber. Which, well, can only be Conquest in GT1, for example.
Well, what about the 56 car with Savage? They started dead last.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in GT1. In GT2, I obviously, especially because if Conquest would get highest climber points in GT2, that would be pretty bloody amazing because they're not actually entered. So yeah, gonna be interesting to see the outcome of the GT2 championship.
If you have questions or anything to say, you can do so, and do this via facebook.com/neardimensionracing or twitter.com/NDR_LFS, or simply on the LFS forums. We have a thread for this race in the general LFS discussion section. Currently, Palacios is catching up with about 7/10 a second to the Last Lap Motorsports car ahead, who drives just in front of Botov. Those two cars are separated by about 4 seconds. On the last lap, 4/10 caught up by the South American team. Looking from the back of the car, the green car is the fast and crazy car I was talking about. And the white dot with the bluish extras, that's the car of Mafia Racing. A 42.12 on the last lap for Monty Juitis. One and a half seconds on the last lap caught by Palacios. The fast and crazy cars ahead of both, so the lapping should not be a problem. It was no problem, but white car gets bigger and bigger. Belter for the number 29 is joining, so there's going to be a change of drivers soon for Genuine Racing. And now Palacios right on the bumper and to the inside in the final turn of the oval. Onto Juitis using the slingshot, and now he has to cover the inside line. He does so. Palacios on the outside, and the cutback on the inside into the infield, and he's through. Nice maneuver by the Argentinian. Let's see if Monty Juitis is able to fight back. needs to stay in touch throughout this corner. '29 currently in the pit lane as said would as it would have happened. And Palacios made enough room so that Montitritis is not in reach for the slipstream, and so Mafia Racing moved up. Although not on the server, but they are now ahead of Last Lap Motorsports. Overall, 8th position for Mafia Racing. Now in here for Infinity Esports Racing, Jake Cooper. How are you doing?
I am extremely tired.
How long have you been awake?
Well, I think I went to bed around 6:30 UK time, about an hour ago. But before then, yesterday I woke up at 5 in the morning on the race day, so I was already awake at 5, still driving, so...
Well, gonna have to give it a second. Be a little timed out. So, how's your race been?
It's been alright. We took damage on our for between stints 5 and 6, I can't remember at this time. But we took damage and it didn't affect the car, but when I took the car I tapped the wall on the exit of the final chicane quite lightly, but because I already had damage it just added on to that, and I think it blew the right front damper. So on the oval section it was bottoming out and it was just losing too much time, so we had to pit the car as an unscheduled stop and repair the damage, so that put us a lap down on the 29 car. But since then, since I've been asleep, well, we've been pulling it back with Sean in the car, and then Night Racer and Roy.
So overall, how's traffic been for you in the GT1 class?
It's been fine, really. I mean, in some respects, the GT2s are maybe a bit too kind because they're like, you know, completely get offline. But you know, I guess in a really long race, you don't want to get taken out by somebody who's taking chances. I think it's probably more key for a GT1 car to pass in terms of the relativity with the other GT1s, I think. Because the paces, I mean, the top 5, well, the only 5 really, plus L on them. But the GT1 class isn't too competitive, so you really have to try and make up a lot of time in the traffic. Well, the GT2 cars have been really too kind, I think. Not in a negative way, obviously, but...
Yeah, I've seen and watching the race, and when I was driving myself, just a GT1 trying to pass the GT2, it just maybe not necessarily the wrong moment, but just a GT1 trying to pass a GT2 into one corner compared to another corner can lose a GT2 seconds. Is it the same for the GT1s, or do you find yourself not losing too much time since the GT2s are being a little bit more generous than maybe in other ends?
Yeah, I think it depends on where on the track, and it's the same for both classes. I mean, if you get behind somebody, I mean, especially in the FZR as we are, you can really pull up to anybody, you know, and that's including the GT1 XRs into Sector 1 on brakes. And let's say the GT2 car wasn't really yielding, but he was being, you know, he was legitimately just driving his own line. I think you'd struggle to get past him. You struggle to get past him in Sector 2. Because, you know, the cars are quite evenly matched there, really, considering the performance disparity, well, power disparity, really. I think in some situations you won't really lose that much time in a GT1 compared to GT2, because the acceleration of a GT1 is a lot better than a GT2, so you can always pull back any disadvantage you have. Whereas I guess GT2 driving's a lot more momentum based. It's all about keeping the speed, you know, for as long as possible. But I mean, it just depends. I suppose you'd lose way more time if you tried to pass a guy in the last chicane and you got a balked exit, because then you got to carry that disadvantage all the way down the straight onto the oval.
Yeah, I've noticed for GT2s, really the best spot for the GT2 to get passed by GT1 is in the long right-hander 180 degree in Sector 2, because pretty much the GT2 can pretty much go its normal line or just kind of disregard the GT1, because they can just brake 10 times later than the GT1 and hold a lot more momentum through that turn, and it doesn't really affect the GT2. Really, the only spots I've seen it really be a hassle for both classes is in Sector 3 there in the double left-hander and the chicane. It's just a real tight area for both classes.
I think a GT2 car that was being quite defensive about letting a GT1 car through the double left and the chicane there, it would be a smart thing to do to hold the GT1 back, because the GT2 car is, you know, basically the same pace as a GT1 car through there. So you know, until you get onto the oval, obviously. Whereas a GT1 car, obviously, you see that's a massive advantage. If you can pass a guy into there, that's a massive advantage, because then you're not you're getting the best exit possible. I mean, especially on the last chicane, because the last thing you want is a car in front of you of any type, because in LFS obviously you get that huge loss of front aero, and it just upsets the balance completely.
Yeah, this track isn't really. It's not really too hard on traffic. It's pretty much equal for classes all around the track. I mean, compared to some of the other tracks we were at, pretty much overall it's pretty much neutral. You might lose it in Sector 1, but you can easily gain it back in Sector 2, and I've noticed GT1s have been quite respectful too with the GT2s. Sometimes when you see them flying up on the GT2, me personally, I'm expecting them to take the turn, dive in, but I just hold my normal line, and in the end they'll end up backing off and moving to the straightaway. So, I mean, I have to say, so far everyone has been quite respectful in not dive bombing and letting everyone get their best line out without losing too much speed. But we'll see how that changes with about half an hour to go.
Well, I guess if it's for position, or if there's a position at stake, then yeah, things get a little bit more hasty. But the traffic's been fine. Yeah. I mean, I think it's always a sort of I mean, you know, as a racer anyway, you sort of you have to respect the other drivers, at least on the track. I mean, you just can't discredit anyone on the track, or treat them differently to anybody else. You just have to treat them with the same respect you would treat anybody, and just give them the right room. But you get those moments where you sort of don't know what that guy is doing, or he doesn't know what you're doing on the track, and that's when you get those kind of incidents. But you also get those moments where you might do something that on somebody else might cause a crash, but if the person that you're passing or being passed by is intelligent enough, then that move will work and you won't lose any time. As you were saying, like in the long right-hander, I mean, maybe an inexperienced GT2 driver would stay in front of the GT1 there on the inside, and obviously the GT1 car is a lot faster and uses a little more downforce to get through the corner because of that. And obviously, if you're using more downforce and you're relying on more downforce, when you lose that downforce, the performance drop is huge. So
Yeah, because I've never raced here KY2R multi-class, and my first stint, I really had no idea how I should let GT1s by, and when I was watching some other drivers or following other drivers, I finally seen how GT2s were setting up the GT1s for that long right-hander. They would give them the inside, they would brake late onto the outside, and obviously they can hold a lot more momentum and be full throttle before the GT1s can even get back on the throttle, and it's pretty much even for both classes, and neither one of them really loses time. And the GT1 can still get the pass before the next double left-hander. So far I think that's pretty much the best spot on this track for passing. And but I don't really know too much about like the buggy curbs and all that, and I hear people say it's a big problem with the XRRs, but you haven't had any encounters with the buggy curbs, have you?
Yeah, I have. Well, we have as a team. I mean, Roy spun into turn, I mean, I call it turn 2, but I guess legitimately it's turn 3. The second of the road course turn, or the second of the infield turns. He hooked the curb there and spun, and I had a few incidents on that when you come through that little double kink chicane, which is just flat out in any car really. You've got that curb on the right hand side before you go through that left-handed kick, and the curb on the right there has like a dip in it, or like a lip or something, and it really just mangles the tire in it. It's a bit silly. And also in the final chicane, if you cut that in the slightest, if you cut that in a minuscule wrong way, then you end up heading for the wall, because for some reason the tire like bugs. It must bug like under the curb or inside the curb, and then the tire then bounces out of the curb, and then it just fires you straight into the wall, because you're like not actually touching the tarmac anymore.
Yeah, the GT2s there on turn 2, the 90-degree left-hander there. For the GT2s, it's pretty much 100% hit or miss. Because once we come off the right-handed curve there, you're on the brakes, you got a downshift, and then once you start your turn-in, you're full throttle. So you have to hit that perfect every time. And if you go a little bit wide, you're in the grass. If you turn in a little bit too early, you're hitting that curb, and then you're going in the grass.
Yeah, it's a tale of two ends really in that respect. I mean, the worst thing that you can do, and it's easier said than done, is like when I had an incident on the final chicane, or when Roy had an incident on the infield turn 2, that 90-degree left-hand that you were just talking about. The worst thing that you can do as a driver is like be overcautious. To an extent, without being too cliche, the worst thing you can do is fear that corner. You have to just attack it like you have been in the practice. You just have to go for it. I mean, LFS is good in the way that chicanes and sort of raised curves works, because the compression rate of the dampers and the springs really makes a difference with how you ride over the curbs and that. So if you have the right speed, you're always going to ride over it smoothly. Whereas if you don't have the right speed, it's going to bounce you around a bit. So you just have to try and focus on attacking it.
It's definitely one thing I've noticed about this track. You need 100% concentration the whole time. Through the second sector there, you can kind of just ease along the track there, but I mean, KY2R overall is a pretty easy track when it comes to technical stuff, but the two technical things, turn 1 and turn 2, and then your double left-hander and last chicane, if you screw that up just the slightest bit, your race could just be done. You could hit that curve just in the wrong littlest way, and you can go in the sand trap wall, get some random phantom damage, and you just need that concentration on top of that when you have other GT2s battling you, other GT1s battling you, or traffic.
I mean, that's probably the only benefit of being in the position that we're in. There's only one car that we're lapping that's in our class, which is the 25 LLM car. And that obviously helps massively with the overall, or your average pace really, because you're not having to. I mean, I suppose the worst thing for a GT1 car, especially because of how downforce reliant they are, is being stuck behind another GT1 car if they aren't compliant, or maybe they don't see it or whatever. But I think. Well, to be fair, I mean, the racing's been really good considering the small grid size. I was kind of hoping that GT1 would be better, but with 6 cars, you can't really expect too much. I suppose it's just a credit to all the GT1 teams that they're still in the race, because only 6 cars. You have to try quite hard to get a
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised on the turnout for the 24-hour race. It's the big race in LFS, but we only have 21. We had 21 total people starting, and we have 4 retirements, all in GT2. It's quite disappointing, but
Yeah,
so
I
far
think-
it's like I was when I was driving, I was telling my teammate Christian, I was telling him that even though it's a real small grid size and the level of competition is way down from before I joined, I was still really enjoying the race because everyone in this race right now is just being respectful to each other and just trying to finish the race. And I think because we all possibly know this could be the last big LFS league race.
Well, also let's not forget, I mean, this race, obviously it was scheduled probably last year, end of last year, or you know, put on the calendar by Deco and the guys. But you know, let's not forget this race. For me personally, the first stint that I did, I was not motivated at all, and you know, it just LFS bores me really. I mean, I've always found LFS difficult, more difficult than other sims, and that's why I've done a lot of LFS racing in the last year, because it is difficult for me, and I like a challenge. But you know, I was driving, and you know, when I was racing with the 29 car and the 25 car, you know, real close, tight racing, and I was just bored, and I just wanted to park it. And then I thought, you know, this race by default has become like a tribute event for IMAL, and I think, you know, that's what gave me the motivation, to be honest. Was you know, he was not really one to give up. If he was going to do a race, he'd go hard or go home. I didn't want to go home, so we had to go hard instead.
Well said. Well, hopefully, wherever New Dimension Racing calls home, with however other sims, however this sim goes, or however other sims develop, hopefully we can get a lot more motivation like it was back before I started in 2012, and we can have nice big league races and get everyone competitive, practicing. Hopefully a new sim where everyone has to start from scratch on setups and be on the car and physics and get a whole new level of fun.
Well, what you're talking about there, I mean, all I can think of when you're talking about that is the setup course. I mean, for me, that would probably be one of the only things that would motivate me, is driving that, because the cars just feel so right. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the GT cars in that particular sim, but the road cars or anything with the semi-slick on just feels absolutely perfect to me. And in fact, to an extent, I was starting to improve on lift speed, but since playing a set of course, my lift speed pace has dropped because I can't feel the brakes on lift speed. I can't feel the car on lift speed, because on a set of course I can feel everything. But I hope that that a set of course really does take off. To be fair, I mean, in an ideal world, if NDR went there, they'd probably take a lot of the LFS community with them, or at least the competitive racing LFS community with them. And I mean, we know the majority of the guys from LFS have always been pretty quick on not just LFS either. I mean, just look at the iRacing DWC. You got Isaac and Hugo Lewis was an LFS regular.
You got Simon, Isaac, Robin, Timu. Well, Phil is quick. I think he was in some sort of pro ways back, but I think he's somewhat retired. I don't know how, but decent amount of. And then you got Hugo Lewis and a few other, I think through ID drivers.
Just
Yeah. You got a few other LFSers that I don't really know in iRacing. And I think I have to agree. The set of course would probably be the best option. It's new. You know, it's learning from mistakes of other sims and, you know, building off of that.
Well, to
And
be fair,
so
I mean,
far, out of
take-
all the sims, it probably is the one that feels the closest to LFS, as in being able to feel the car,
yeah, I think
even a little bit more responsive. And it's not against iRacing because I play iRacing, but it's not a giant investment because some people might not be able to afford all the tracks and content that NDR would want to use for a league in iRacing, you know, and so of course is a one-time payment with maybe a DLC, you know, here and there. It'd be a lot more, yeah, it'd be a lot more accessible for the majority of the LFS community than other sims like iRacing.
I think with Assetto Corsa though, I think it's motivating enough to people anyway, simply because it's new, not necessarily because it's good, which it is, but because it's new in general. You know, I guess the same thing happened when, well, the same thing did happen with R Factor 2, but it just didn't take off. I mean, there's a payware mod for R Factor 2 called United Racers Design Endure Racers or something. When they basically have all the GTE cars, the Viper, the Vet, the Porsche, Ferrari 458, Aston Martin, and that mod is fantastic. Really is great. But R Factor 2 just isn't taken off as everybody thought it would, and you know, it's I think Assetto Corsa has sort of taken that focal point, and it's definitely taken it away from Live for Speed at the moment, which is why, you know, activity and motivation is very low for Live for Speed at the moment. I mean, also obviously the fact that it has been on the declines because there's been, you know, nothing. I mean, in some way I feel bad for the developers of Live for Speed, but in another respect they deserve it because they've just let it go stale. You know, if you want to keep a business going, you got to invest time or money, or you know, you got to put stuff out there. They've just, well, quite simply, they've been overtaken by the competition.
Yeah, the new sims coming out are learning from mistakes like LFS and other sims, maybe like R Factor and iRacing, and they're trying to build on that. Same with iRacing, they're trying to build off of things from LFS and seeing what Assetto Corsa is doing. And right now, all the new sims coming out, it's pretty exciting because they're all taking things off of each other, trying to make their sim better, and it's a pretty big war of the new sims. And I think what everyone's waiting for with Assetto Corsa is one, multiplayer, and two, when multiplayer comes out, you know, how soon or if driver swaps will be put in, because I think that'll be the deciding point for Assetto Corsa with driver swaps.
I think, I mean, if driver swaps are there, I think the LFS community will flock to it quite rapidly, to be fair. I mean, that's one thing that LFS has always had in its back pocket, but I mean, even if you were to say categorically that driver swaps would never be in any other sim ever, it still wouldn't keep people playing LFS anymore. I mean, it's just too outdated. But you know, the driver swaps have always, I mean, that's why I race LFS as well, other than the fact that I struggle with LFS and I want to improve myself, or I did want to. So I don't want to drive LFS anymore. This would be my final race. But
well, the one thing iRacing has over other sims is their being able to race at any point in time. You can just come home from work, sit down, join a race, and there are going to be 10, 20 other people doing that race. and that's one thing that's really helping iRacing.
Yeah, but it's not a league system, is it? I mean, essentially, it's just pickup racing. And the more races you have available, the more people treat it like a up and run or run what you brung or whatever. And you just jump in, wreck somebody, and then jump out again, and then go find another race. I think when you have a proper league scenario, I mean, like the NDR stuff, which is, it's a fair distance apart. I think a month is quite a fair distance apart for a season, or a month, 2 weeks, and you've got time to practice. When you do practice, you build up an anticipation and an excitement. I mean, sometimes it can be hard to find motivation, but that's just one of those things. And the more you practice for an event, which you're kind of forced to because of the time gap between the events, you'd be an idiot not to use that time to practice. I think the less races you have on the table, the more people will treat them with respect, or they would value, and especially the result. You're always going to value the result more if you've been waiting for that result longer. And if you just join a race on impulse because other people are in that race, and I mean, that's just one of the issues that iRacing has, I guess. I mean, essentially the racing that you do get whenever you want, which is great. I'm not being negative about that, but it's not. I mean, it's just not the same as league racing, really. I mean, the practice and the preparation. That's it's. I wouldn't say it's part of the fun, but it definitely makes the result more worth it when you've put effort in and you've had to put effort in to get that result. And a pickup race, it just doesn't. It's just not the same.
That's pretty much almost what LFS has come to. These are almost just pickup races now because everyone has a setup. You can go find a base setup off of Setup Grid. People are willingly sharing setups now because really, having your own setup on LFS is not really worth it because there are so many setups out there for people to use, and it's almost becoming a pickup race. You barely need any practice.
Yeah, there is some truth to that, definitely. I mean that's only because LFS has been around for so long,
Yeah.
You tend to find that the guys who've been around for the longest, they have the most resources to be fast, if you see what I mean, because they have all those setups in their folders, and it's just sad, really. I do like LFS. I like there's a lot of things physically with the car that I like. The sort of the way that you four-wheel drift a bit through the corners to keep your momentum, and things like that. I mean, a set of courses kind of there with that, but no other sim really ever really did that. It's kind of sad, really, because it's quite obvious. Maybe after this race, maybe after a few others, that LFS is just it's just dying. It's already dead.
One thing that really kind of, I don't know, makes it almost not worth it is just knowing that the level of competition isn't as high as it used to be.
Yeah.
I like almost this, like I'm new. I never drove an XR GT2 into this, to GT World Series. I never drove an XR GT2 or KY2R. Never drove a KY2R. And then here I am able to run in, third place. And I know that's not because I'm good. I just know because the level of competition's not high because everyone else has packed up their bags and moved to something else. And that's what I'm looking forward to, like I said, a Corsa or another sim, or Factor 2, whatever it may be, where we all pack our bags and we all got to start from scratch and Everyone's motivated and trying to be the fastest and fast, and you really have to fight to get into the race, and not this where you didn't even need to qualify to get in this race. 21 total sign-ups.
Yeah, it's just, well, you know, what can you say really? I mean, I've always said it only, I mean, it would be too late now, but it would have only took LFS devs to make a few tracks or something a few years ago, and it would have kept LFS going for a little bit longer. But, you know, I mean, how hard is it to make a track really? I mean,
Considering they're all fictional, you know.
yeah, well, you know, that's.
But then, that's one good thing
easily
about LFS, it's all fictional, so you would assume they'd be able to pump out content like no other. But then again, do people really want to race on fictional tracks, or do they want to race on, you know, Monza, Suzuka, you know, Monaco, places that they watch people race in real life and drive real cars and, you know, set up leagues based off real series. I think that's what people want.
I think there is an advantage to fictional tracks in terms of well, for LFS especially, because it's sort of unique to LFS. The tracks are fictional, but you know, they're not like I mean, well, they're not really like all silly street tracks or, you know, highway circuits or something like that. You know, it's they are believable circuits, if you understand me. Well, I'd say the only one that wasn't really was Aston, because that doesn't follow any rule of any track really. It's just kind of you know, a bit of asphalt everywhere. But you know, every other track is very much a believable circuit. Well, actually, thinking about it, maybe not, because Fernbay goes across a railway bridge, and then they drive on the railway bridge. So maybe not. Ignore that. Disregard.
So are you going to get back in the car at all for another stint?
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty tired. I mean, I could definitely go faster than I did, but I mean, I'm saying that if I was 100% not tired. I think it would be silly to put myself in the car. But I mean, I'm the team manager in LFS at the moment. It would be silly for me to put myself in the car when I'm not the fastest driver. I mean, essentially for me, I mean, I could match the other guy's pace, but only on a few laps. I mean, obviously traffic has an influence, but also, you know, it just wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. But my job really was to just try and get my average lap down, which is quite high, but bear in mind I did have to pit for damage repairs as an unscheduled stop. But my job was to just bolster out the roster really. Basically just fill in the gaps. That's why I was away for so long. But I nominated myself to do that. You know, because as my job is to manage my drivers, so I've got to keep them all fresh.
I guess Theodore's never coming back.
Well, I hope I didn't upset him.
No, he timed out. Oh.
But yeah, you know, going back to what would have made LFS keep its activity. I mean, they really didn't have to try very hard. I mean, the LFS car models aren't exactly a bazillion polygons, and you know, fancy this and fancy that. So, you know, and again, you know, it's fictional, so you essentially with anything fictional, you don't have any boundaries to or standards to satisfy to an extent. You know, well, even with the buggy curves, I mean, you could say, well, maybe they're supposed to be there. You don't know. They could have added a different car, maybe balanced the GTR class a bit better. I think. I mean, the strange thing is with LFS is the FZR is. I mean, out of the two rear-wheel drive cars, anyway, the FZR is the faster of the two at the end of a stint. But because in general you got to carry more fuel with the FZR, the start of the stint is a lot slower than the XR, because the XR's fuel tank position is also on the rear, so that helps a bit too. For traction and stuff out of the corners, which is what the FZR generally does better, so you do lose a bit there. And you lose a lot of time in the pits, because I think from 0 to 100% fuel is like 11 seconds in the pit lane. Adds 11 seconds to your pit stop. So, you know, if you're adding an extra 40%, 35%, that's at least 3, maybe 4 seconds, and that does add up. And it's a lot more key in the FZR to run longer. I mean, to be fair, you know, the FZR and the XR both have their nuances. The XR is obviously turbocharged, you got a bit of lag, but I think in general the FZR is less pointy, and you have to put the weight on the rear, and you have to keep it there for as long as possible. But that's why that's why personally I had a lot of respect for Imol, because I mean, watching his laps, his race laps, or record laps in the FZR, you know, he to me just did things that he couldn't even dream of doing. The way he positioned the car and such. I mean, that's a testament to him and the Conquest guys and Dennis, you know, all the guys that are really good in the FZR. You really do have to wring the neck of it to get anywhere close to being competitive to these XRs, and especially on this particular track. You know, and those guys would be challenging for wins and podiums, you know, seemingly easily on the outside, but you know, they would be pushing it to the absolute limit on the tyres. And I think actually they should have balanced it a long time ago. You know, the FXR is, I mean, it's nowhere really. I mean, it's bound to have better traction. I mean, there's pretty much only one track where it's anywhere near competitive. Although we have seen, you know, guys like Hellenic Racing taking the FXR to unbelievable results that, you know, nobody thought possible. I remember the last 24 hours last year. I think they won the amateur class, and they were like 4th or 5th overall at the end. And yeah, that was quite impressive. But I mean, still the FXRs. I think they're over the course of a few tracks put together in a season, you'd probably get an even result between the three cars. But you know, side by side performance is just not as close as it should be, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot that could be changed. But too late to change it.
It is. It's the unfortunate thing, really. I mean, the announcement not that long ago about releasing content and updating things, and, you know, you just think it's just a case of too little too late. I mean, when have other tracks providing laser scanned tracks and laser scanned cars. They're all real, you know, mirror images of the real life counterpart. You know, it kind of makes you wonder what's the point doing, well, anything to live for speed. It is frustrating because live for speed does, it did and it does still have potential, but you just can't see that potential ever being fulfilled. I mean, it's just frustrating, really. I guess it's like seeing a genius do crime instead of, you know, actually getting a job that fitted his intelligence level. You know, it's just frustrating because you know that person is so much better than what they're doing at the time. It's kind of what it is with LFS. You know, it could be so much better, and I don't know. I'm not gonna judge the developers, but you know, I will say, you know, it's a pretty poor business on their part.
Well, I think all we can do now is just hope for a good outcome of Assetto Corsa. Because that'll, Assetto Corsa looks like could be the last option to get the LFS community booming. Because I know just from being in this TeamSpeak all the time that when Assetto Corsa does come out with multiplayer, driver swaps, and more content, that NDR is pretty much ready. I don't know what. I would assume they're ready. I have, you know, Phil and Deco, Boothy, and all those guys probably, you know, already figuring up leagues and balancing and this and that, and I have a feeling that they have a few pretty good leagues in store for us when the Assetto Corsa finally comes out, because I'm just gonna guess that Assetto Corsa will be where NDR will go next. If it was iRacing, we would be there by now.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, as you said, the payment for Assetto Corsa is, I mean, I can't even remember what it was, but it was around €30, was it?
Yeah. About, it was
Speed
30
is
bucks
what?
for me.
Live for Speed is what, €24?
Yeah, it's $30 US for Assetto Corsa, and then it was about 40 some US dollars for S2.
Is that still the current pricing for S2?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's kind of astonishing, really. But yeah, as you said with iRacing, you know, it is a pet peeve of mine. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people listening who have seen some of my posts on the LFS forum, for one, they know that I really don't like iRacing. But I mean, one of the things that nobody can really argue against is the pricing system on iRacing is silly. I mean, they must make a huge profit on that. I mean, a track license would cost like maybe $100,000, maybe less. You know, they'd make that after, you know, 20,000 purchases on that track, and you know. But anyway, you know, you were right in saying that, you know, not everybody would be willing to pay, and rightly so. They shouldn't have to pay for cars and tracks. I think that's completely silly. It's a game, it's not real life, you know.
Paying for cars and tracks, I understand, because, you know, they're all laser scanned. They had to either fly over to their warehouse or to the location of the track, and, you know, sending all the equipment, or getting the equipment, sending the people, hiring the people to do all that isn't cheap. So I mean, I see paying for it, but
well, they don't
the
have
thing
an
with
excuse now,
iRacing,
because they don't have an excuse for that pricing now, because you've got games like Assetto Corsa and R-Factor 2 that are laser scanning tracks as well, and so they don't really have an excuse anymore. And not just the price of the individual content, but the overall subscription as well. I mean, they provide a service, yeah, but I mean, you're only really paying for the convenience of it. I'm sure there's a lot of things that the majority of people would want to see changes on their service, and you know, the fact that you have to pay to host a practice session, the fact that you can't play the game offline, you know, you shouldn't be paying for a game that you can't play with no internet, in my opinion.
Well, I think the one thing with iRacing is they don't care really too much about past and future. They laser scan a track, a car, they release it, people buy it, that's the end of it. They might do a hot fix to it here or there, they might throw a new tire model on it, but pretty much they don't care about it. Once they release something, just how I feel, they just don't really care about it. All they care about is getting something out, releasing it, and then they're on to the next thing. And then they just put everything else that they already have out in the back of their mind. They're all about getting new stuff, which is alright, getting more content out, but it's quality over quantity. Because there are so many series in iRacing that don't have an official race, that probably have like 1 or 2 official races a week. And considering there are like races every hour, every half hour, every single day, for only 1 or 2 of them to go official is pretty sad.
One of the problems I found when I still had a valid subscription was a lot of the series there, they'd be running at really silly tracks. I mean, there was IndyCar at Alton Park, but, you know, I mean, really, come on, F1 at Sebring, please, come on, really, you know. I think they've got quite a nice library of tracks, but it seems like they have the same problem LFS does, where they have to make do with what they've got, and you know, they only have, I mean, they got what, Spa, Silverstone, and well, that's it for F1 tracks, isn't it?
Suzuka. Interlagos.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, Interlagos as well. I mean, I suppose you could get away maybe with running F1 cars at Motegi or something like that, so, you know, somewhere flat. It's sort of believable. You know, it's sort of a realistic track, I guess, so to speak. But you know, they seem to run out of tracks.
Glen.
Well, historically, but I mean, it's not an F1 track anymore. But yeah, it seems like they have the same problem with LFS. They have to sort of make do with what they've got, which I never liked. When you see like DWC Pro Racing at Sebring and F1 car, it's just a bit silly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy driving Sebring, and I actually enjoyed it in the F1 car as well, but it's still completely unrealistic.
So in the race here, 09 Genuine Racing is leading the 01 of NX by 23 seconds, and then GT2, the 54 Virus, is leading the 52 of Last Lap Motorsports by 37 seconds, and then everyone else is a lap down here, there, and scattered all about. And there's pretty much no battle for position on track. Not that I like them. It would be nice to see a safety car though to bunch the field back up, considering we only have, what, 17 cars on track?
Yeah, it could be fun. I'm surprised we haven't seen more safety cars, to be honest. I mean, in the XR, it is, I wouldn't say it's easy to, but it is possible to roll it on the first of the right-handers on this track.
Well, like I was saying, the level of competition is down, so you might not have a lot of people pushing 110%, looking for every last inch. They're just trying to play it safe, and so maybe that's why we're not seeing a lot of punctures, a lot of rolling.
To be fair, we have seen quite a few punches. I mean, the right front on the XR2 has been going like no tomorrow from what I've seen on the stream and on the the LFS remote. I think it's a simple case of maybe the guys here are all pretty much old hands. We've all been here for at least a year or more, and you sort of know what to expect, and you know how to get out of a tricky situation.
I'm hoping when we get down to the closing hours, we can start to spice up. People will be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, I don't blame other people for being more passive, not wanting to, well, I guess I wasn't. I was kind of pushing it. Because every other race I did, I've never seen a car on track, so I knew this would be a track where I would see multiple cars. So I actually, when I was racing Troy, I accidentally almost spun him, because instead of just letting him go by, I felt the need to race him hard because I was bored. So I raced him hard until I almost spun him, then I let him go.
Yeah, sometimes you get those moments where I wouldn't say it's guilt, but it's kind of a self-preservation thing, because you think, it would they would have a legitimate reason to protest, and I would have they would have a legitimate reason to give me a penalty, so I'll just let them pass and hope that I don't get a penalty. So you just let them go on by. The gap between third and fourth, like...
Oh yeah, thank you, Steve. 1.4 seconds. I'm sorry. Conquest 08 and Genuine Racing 29. GT1.
If only we weren't
Once I find them.
down. Well, I mean, I can hope that they, start bumping each other and take damage and both have to pit. But, dreams don't generally come true for me. How did the 09 Genuine Racing car actually get in front of NX? I didn't see that. I think I was asleep at that time.
NX got a drive-through penalty for putting 69 Mafia Racing in the grapple pit. Or stop go. 10-second stop go.
Who was driving at that time?
Jesse? Yeah, Jesse Pecula. Jesse Pecula. But they're slowly working their way back up. They were a lot further behind than what they are. They're only 23 seconds behind now.
I guess strategy-wise from them, I mean, I'm not sure what time window event it has, but strategy-wise from them, I guess it was a bad choice to put Isaac in for 7 hours already, unless he's willing to do more. I don't know, but I guess from strategy, because he's clearly the fastest driver, I guess they might need him later on. So I think Ivanov is like around the same pace as Jesse at the moment. So.
Well, I believe if Jesse does not close on Genuine Racing, Isaac will kick the young man out of the car and hop in there and do it himself.
Gap's not 1 second between the 08 and the 29.
29 should be pitting within the next lap or two. 08's close to pitting as well. not within a lap or two, maybe about another 10 or 15, but we definitely might see these two, if they keep their pace the same and stints stay the same, we'll probably see them at the end of the race, depending on how their stints overlap.
It never ceases to fascinate me that after 24 hours you can get people genuinely battling for position. I mean, that just baffles me every time. I mean, I watch Le Mans generally every year, and you know, you always tend to get battles for position. It's just crazy when you think about it. 24 hours is a long ass time.
Well, we still have 56 of Savage Sim Sports still within 30 seconds of 66 of Core Racing, and then you have Asex Motorsports 4 seconds behind World Class Lions.
No, they just pitted. So
Oh, they just pitted? Never mind then.
But there's a battle for penultimate, well, second to last position between absolute beginners and
Ooh! I don't know what happened, but I see the 8 and the 73 sideways. Wasn't paying attention there. I don't know what happened. If the 73 turned down on the 8, or if the 8 tried to dive bomb in there. Not dive bomb, but get in there. Not really sure why. Well.
29's right behind the 8 now.
Should be pitting soon.
I assume he's. I mean, it depends. If he's got 5 laps left, he'd probably want to pass him. But if he's pitting in the next few laps, I guess he won't really bother passing him. It's just not.
Well, I mean, there's no point backing off because, I mean, in the end, you know, setting fast laps, and doesn't want to lose time, so he's got to push the whole stint, even if he is going to pit right after he passes him. And he's coming in.
Yeah.
And he will stay in the car for another hour's stint.
He got denied a battle there. I'm sure it all. I mean, obviously the pace they have is faster than Conquest at the moment for whatever reason. I mean, Conquest. I mean, well, you saw Goik at the start of the race. I mean, they were on fire, and then when Gaida got in the car, and when Garbolevsky first got in the car, they were extremely quick. And I mean, without being too negative towards them, I expected a bit more from them. But that was probably only after Goik made that amazing move around the outside, and they suddenly found themselves like in the lead.
I don't know too much about the FCR tire wear, but from the looks of his tires, he has quite a few more laps. That giant slide into turn 1 didn't really help, but before that, he looked like he had a decent amount of laps left.
He pitted 25 laps ago, so he should at least have another 10 laps within him. I mean, even on a poor set, he could probably get 35 laps out of the car. So I expect to see another 10 laps at least.
Wonder if we'll see a protest from either 08 or 73. I'm not even sure what really happened. I was looking at my other screen. I don't even know if that was on stream or not.
I do not believe it was.
Real quick, we are approaching a decent point where we need to break the stream to keep it inside the file size limit for where we need to upload it. So we're just going to do a quick stop and restart of the stream. Hopefully your player should just restart straight away. It'll every 10 seconds the simrace.tv player should try to reconnect if it sees something. So stay with us. We'll be right back with the final 3 hours of the 24 hours of Kyoto.